My interest in the academic life and in education grows out of a kind of approach to being well-rounded in life. And I bring that approach to my work here at the Freedom Center, so that while I never really envisioned years ago of becoming the head of an institution like this, with this museum that we house here, for example, I've always seen myself as an educator. And during the time that I served as a dean of a School of Divinity, Howard University's Dean School of Divinity in Washington, and while I served as president of Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, I always was open to broader opportunities to provide educational leadership. And so I am here today being very, very consistent with my sense of calling, both as it has to do with an avocation and a vocation. We are getting ready for our 10th anniversary year celebration. And we are planning a number of very, very wonderful activities that will help us to make the center become all the more dynamic as it enters its second decade of life. We've come into the possession of a first edition of 12 Years a Slave, the book, the autobiography by Solomon Northup, which we are going to use to enhance all the more our Solomon Northup tour, which should excite people given the forthcoming Oscars, and we expect the movie that just came out to get more play. We have a wonderful event coming up on February 24th, Monday evening, dealing with hate crimes in America. And that will help us to focus on contemporary issues related to freedom and to draw even more attention to our Invisible Slavery exhibit and the kinds of issues that we're dealing with in the world today as it relates to sex trafficking and human bondage and the attempts to free people even now. Those are at least a couple of the things that I want to mention and encourage people to come out to see even our quilt exhibit that's been here for a while now, and see how each of those 85 quilts can speak to some aspect of Black history during the month of February. There are so many people whose names I can call, but at the root of my family tree is a person by the name of Hawley Jenkins, who never finished high school. I don't think my great-grandfather had much formal training at all, but for many years he was called the Negro Superintendent of Public School Education in northeastern North Carolina's county of Hertford County. He inspired generations of educators, and I'm one of them. And when I think in terms of the pathway that led me to where I am, I think back on him. His great-grandfather had been enslaved. His great-grandfather was deeply devoted to education coming out of slavery, and it had a very salutary and enduring effect on my grandfather, great-grandfather Hawley Jenkins, and I, in many respects, personify and uphold his principles and his ideals, even now as the president of the Freedom Center here in Cincinnati. And I would say to him, I'm deeply grateful for modeling the kind of man that I am trying to be. And I would say, thank you, Granddaddy, even though I never saw you in the flesh.